Namaskar. The French lawmakers have ousted their own prime minister on one simple reason. What was the reason? Well, what he wanted to do was to bring in some austerity measures. What are the measures? He wanted to freeze government spending and cut 2 public holidays. And the savings from that was expected to be 44 billion euros or $51 billion. And the lawmakers would have none of it. So now Bayrou, the current prime minister, has to step down, and Macron has 2 choices to make. One, he can choose another person. There are 2-3 contestants to make that person the next prime minister and more of the same, or he could call snap elections. We'll come to the snap elections in a bit, but first let us take a look at why this is becoming such a huge problem. The French bonds that the government issues, these have become so worthless now that they have increased their yields to be more than that of Spanish, Portuguese, and Greek bonds, which when there was the Eurozone crisis, they said that these were worthless bonds. Now, the French bonds are offering better yield than these 3 bonds today. So you can imagine how much of a problem France finds itself in. And yet, when we reported that they have sought IMF bailout and they said nothing doing, no, there is no bailout. Now you see, is this the first domino to fall in Europe? With this incident, with this news, this is going to make both Trump and Putin happy, because this considerably weakens the position of Western Europe in the Ukraine crisis. What is the next move of Macron? Well, he can choose another centrist PM, prime minister, but that person would be no different than Bayrou. Bayrou was prime minister for just 9 months. Before that, another person. So this musical chairs, you can put it on your resume that I was prime minister of France for 1 day. What difference does it make? Because this is a very uneasy coalition, the centrist coalition that Macron has put together. Some even say that this was a fraudulent vote because of what happened, how the last minute lot of candidates pulled out and new candidates, or I wouldn't say candidates pulled out, but candidates at the last minute basically withdrew from election, thereby coalescing against the right party, that is RN, or National Rally Party of Marine Le Pen. So I'll come to the Le Pen incident. There's a twist there also. So either Macron chooses one more centrist prime ministerial candidate who should be acceptable to his coalition's left as well as right segments. The problem here is the far left wants to socialize, tax the rich, and also repeal some of the subsidies that they have given to the industries, corporates in France. And the Republican, the party's name is Les Républicains, which is the far right partner in this coalition, they would have none of it. So you have, this is the real stalemate that France finds itself in. The coalition partners may not agree to another prime ministerial candidate, and even if that person takes office, what difference does it make? If you want to go to IMF, I am guessing, that they did this. They said that, we are going to implement austerity measures, and they thought they'll do this thing before they go to IMF bailout, so that they can say, look, we have already started cleaning our act, therefore you should give us more favorable terms. Again, this is not going to be written or found in any place. This is something that I am connecting the dots. You have to listen to a lot of experts who have got years of experience looking at how governments function, how these bailouts work, what conditions have to lead up to that, and so on and so forth. So the other option for Macron, call snap elections. And if your surveys of France are to be believed, that are showing that the RN, National Rally Party, will be the biggest party. However, will they have the requisite number of seats to form the government? That's a question that we'll have to see only after looking at the results. So Macron is between a rock and a very hard place. We don't know what he is going to decide. Either option is not very good. But regardless of what happens, the austerity measures have to be put in place, and they need to start working towards that. What are they going to do? That is a huge question. Now, what they also did, sleight of hand, was they banned, the court banned essentially, court banned Marine Le Pen and 8 other members of European Parliament, along with 12 staffers in the RN party, for embezzlement of funds to pay the staff. The number is about 4 million euros. Not a very big number if you think about it, but that's the reason given to basically ban Le Pen from contesting for 5 years. So now she cannot contest the elections in 2027, which is when, if no snap polls happen, that's when the next elections in France are due. But what is going to happen is that there is another person who's leading the party in her absence. His name is Jordan Bardella. Is he ready? Would he be able to take them to victory? But Marine Le Pen is the face of the RN party. She has been doing this for at least 10-15 years. I don't know if you remember the initial days of PGurus. Professor 𝗟𝗡𝗏 and I used to discuss about Eurobia. We had renamed Europe as Eurobia. And this was when he was still the faculty at IIM. I mean, there are some, we sat outside and we used to talk. It's a very funny, fancy videos. Take a look at it. Go back to 2016-17 days. And point is, will they still be able to come to power, knowing fully well that Marine Le Pen cannot be the prime minister? Now, Marine Le Pen has appealed that verdict, and that case may be taken up in early 2026. Now, if that happens and if that is heard, and if she wins that one, then she definitely can stand for elections in 2027. But as things stand today, France will vote for a right government, which is something that is, if you look at the history of France, it's been a long time. I can't even remember when they have had a rightist government. They either have a left or left of center or center. Center is what Macron is, but even center, it's not Macron's one party that has the lead. He has to form a coalition of people from left, right, far left, and all that stuff. So it's a very hodgepodge khichdi kind of coalition, and we have to wait and see how much this is going to be able to pull itself out. Bottom line is, France, in my opinion, is in no position to send troops to Ukraine or to commit to 5% of their GDP towards defense expenditure. I don't think they have the money. And if they don't have the money, and if they don't want to reform, they don't want to give up on their holidays, they don't want to freeze on government spending, then how are they going to pull themselves out of the hole they have dug themselves into? Which is why I'm saying this is the first of the dominoes, because France is leading, but other countries, Germany, United Kingdom, and other countries, they all are in similar kinds of situations. They all could also be having a problem very similar to what France finds itself in today. And this is a situation that has been brewing for a long time, and I have a feeling that something drastic is going to happen, meaning like France could say, okay, I'm not going to be governed by euro, I'm going to quit the euro and I'm going to go back to franc, for example. Because the reason I say that is, when the euro was formed, there was this maddening desire that we need to all group together to appear big so we can compete against the US dollar. That was the main reason why it was formed. However, when euro was being consolidated and being designed for the entire set of 20 odd countries, they did not consolidate the debt. In other words, they didn't know which country had how much debt, which is why you saw the Eurozone crisis happen in the first place. And therefore, euro is sort of like a notion. It's possible that France could say, okay, we are exiting the euro, we are going back to franc. And then they'll have to figure out what is the exchange rate, whether they want to make this thing convertible, or are they going to put capital controls in place. Capital controls is, like, for example, Spain has them today. 3,000 euros a day is all you can withdraw from your bank account. It doesn't matter how much you have in your bank. In one day, you can only withdraw 3,000 euros. So these kinds of artificial controls tell you that there is a run on the money, there is a run on the bank, and people are losing faith in the European currency system, especially the euro. Basically, they think that a war is imminent, and this would also make Putin feel even more happy, because Macron is one of the loudest guys trying to say that no, we will support Ukraine 100%. Now Macron finds himself to be forced to take a look at what is going on within his own country. No time to go and look at how he can solve the world's problems. That's where things stand. And let me see if there are any questions here. So now the latest update from Boomerang, he says he will accept the resignation of Bayrou after his government was ejected. So there are two candidates, the Justice Minister and the Minister for Equivalent to Armed Forces. And one of them could very well be the next Prime Minister. But how is it going to change anything? How is it going to change anything? Not much. This is the bigger problem. They don't want to call snap elections. And Macron, okay, there's a third option. Macron could resign, and in that case, again, snap elections would have to be called, and somebody else, there'll be a presidential election, and Marine Le Pen, at this point, she cannot contest. So that could be one trump card he could use, thinking that, well, she is currently in jail, but I can call snap elections. I think that I can defeat the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿 guy, who could perhaps be the face of RN for the president's post, and he may think that then I can come back. It's not the presidential post that's at issue here. It is the strength of members of the parliament in the French parliament. Those are the ones who are going to decide which way the policies are going to be done, which way the country is going to proceed. So we'll have to see what happens in the next few days. Next one is Boomerang says, is it going to be caused by bankruptcy? Yeah, it's a possible pending bankruptcy. Yes. See, I told you also about this, right? That there was close to $70 billion in French banks of Russian money that has been frozen, and people are saying, whispers in the corridors, that only 25 billion is there. The remaining 45 billion has been already spent, and for that Europe is giving reasons, saying that, oh, because of Russia's aggression, we're not touching the principle, but we are only taking the interest out, and we are helping Ukraine. Some cock and bull story that's being peddled. So these are all stories that are going on. Bottom line is, France is in big, deep doo-doo. We said this thing last week itself, and now you can see that this is playing out now. Aditya Khadekar wants to know, will we lose fifth generation deal if Macron fails? Oh, no, not at all. In fact, you will get an even more favorable deal. Giri wants to know, can India offer to buy companies like Dassault to help them in their debt? Yes, they can do that. Although I don't know the laws of France. The transfer laws in France are incredibly complex. And one would, perhaps wait and see if they declare Chapter 11 and then get the assets from bankruptcy court. That might be a better way to do this thing. It requires some shrewd thinking. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure how India would approach that. Next question from Manofsan, with Le Pen National Rally banned. No, the party is not banned, Manofsan. National Rally party is not banned. Only she, 8 European Parliament members, and 12 staffers have been banned. And I think she is also in jail, if I remember. It's an embezzlement for which this conviction has already happened. So, and AFD is about to be banned in Germany. I don't think so. These are all plays of the deep states. These guys are losing power left, right, and center. And the first domino that drove this thing is Trump's assassination failing, and then Trump riding that wave of sympathy, becoming the president again, and then he has started putting a lot of moves that starts curtailing what the deep state used to do and get away with. Now, next one, Chanakya. As long as France stays left-leaning, irrespective of what the wording is for the French government, France will go down to stop being too liberal. Yes, that's true. Next, this is the last question I'm going to take. Aditya Khadekar wants to know if, maybe it's Khadekar. Sir, what if they elect a pro-American, anti-India president? We will lose the... no, I don't see that happening. I really don't see that happening. They need this currency. They need this kind of thing because jobs will be lost. Dassault was on the brink of bankruptcy when India went in and bought them, and after that a couple of other countries have also bought. Boomerang wants to know, debt is rising by 5,000 euros a second, and the cost of servicing it is set to hit 75 billion euro next year, according to the government. Yeah, I mean, I also told you, right, how 1,000 euros of France income in France is being spent. The pie chart I had described to about 4 or 5 days ago. 561 is going towards benefits, just benefits. So problem, let's see how this plays out. But I'm very happy to see the number of people that have assembled to listen to this. And we are one of the first ones to break this thing. And more things will happen. But I think the stock markets are going to correct themselves tomorrow. We'll wait and see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.